Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2018 version of Varsity Chalk Talk here in Westlake, Ohio at the Hooley House. Yours truly, David Ramnerine, your host, along with John Boehm and Andy Jardy, back here for another fun-filled season. This is the 10th season for Varsity Chalk Talk at the Hooley House. Of course, we are here in Westlake live. And we have two other shows, one going on right now at the Menor location with Billy Tilton, who runs the entire operation. And then also tomorrow night, if you want to catch another version of Varsity Chalk Talk, you can head out to the Brooklyn location, and Billy Tilton will be there talking high school football. It's been a long time since we talked high school football, back since November of 2017. And Andy Jardy, John Boehm. John Boehm, of course, from the Lorain Morning Journal. Andy Jardy affiliated with Fox Sports Ohio, and I can't remember the other station.
WMFD.
WMFD
down in Mansfield.
FD in Mansfield. And
yes.
he this year, let's start there, Andy.
Oh.
What are you going to be doing this year? Because Andy's usually our roving reporter throughout the state of Ohio and West Virginia and Indiana. And
we never get out of the state. That's not true. But I will go to various places down in central Ohio, Mansfield area.
Might as well be West Virginia.
You know, there are times I'm on the Indiana border. There'll be times we get close. Upper Sandusky-ish is, I guess, the closest that we go. But I'll be hosting the show down there this year. Looking forward to it.
Beautiful. Great to see the progression for Andy Jardy. If you want to catch up with Andy, he is on Twitter at Andy Jardy, ANDYJARDY. And if you want to catch up with this young man from the Lorain Morning Journal, writes plenty of awesome columns every day and stories every day. He's been covering the high school football scene like a madman for the last couple of weeks, going to practices and scrimmages. John Boehm, he is at MJ_JBEHM.
Yes, sir.
Johnny, if you want to catch up with Varsity Chalk Talk on Twitter, it's at Real Chalk Talk as well. How you been, buddy?
I've been surviving. It's been a fun month, but yeah, how this first month is. It's always the roughest, and then it gets better once the games actually start, because that anticipation you have coming up these weeks since when practices start, the 30th of July. Just have a lot of anticipation for this first week, and it's finally here.
All right, so we will preview tonight the 2018 season coming up. We've got a couple of teams coming in house. One is North Ridgeville. Who else do we have, Johnny?
Let's see here. We should be having the Avon Eagles coming here. I actually see Coach Elder just got in here.
Coach Elder walking in on cue.
There we go.
I think Coach Elder does that on purpose. He knew we were getting ready to talk. He felt our spirit talk about the Avon Eagles, and he came in on cue.
And then we should also be having the Rocky River Pirates and the hometown team of the Westlake Demons.
I'm interested to see what the Demons can do this year. Last year, not so good, but the year before that, they had a great comeback season after a down season. So it's kind of a roller coaster ride. North Ridgeville had a down season last year, but we're expecting big things from them because they got a bunch of seniors coming back.
Oh yeah, both teams are very senior heavy this year, and we say it every single time we talk about the Southwestern Conference. You need that experience and that leadership to be able to survive, and both those teams definitely will have that leadership this year. So definitely should see some improvements for both those teams.
All right, we talk Twitter. I didn't give my own. I am at DRamboni, DRAMBONI on Twitter. If you have comments, questions, suggestions, you can reach out to any one of us. Also at Hooley Pub. If you want to talk to the Hooley House, we are here in Westlake, like we said, at the Hooley House at 24940 Sperry Drive, Westlake, Ohio. OneFunPub.com is the website. Of course, plenty of great libations and great food here at the any Hooley House, but this one here in Westlake is probably my favorite. Any seat in the house is a good seat because there are televisions all over the place. I see that the patio is jumping outside. Yep. No fire pit up and running yet. I don't think we need that right now, but I always like to see the flames going, But coming up here in the fall, it's getting kind of chilly in the morning, and we'll start to get a little chilly in the evening, and that fire pit will come in handy.
Oh, for sure. The one thing I love about the Hooley House out here, like you said, there's no bad seat. I'm looking around, I see, what would you say, maybe 15 to 20 TVs, all of which have different things on. So
15 to 20. Where did you go to high school? 15 to 20. You got at least 30 televisions here.
15 to 20 without turning my head at all.
Oh, okay.
Just like in my sight line, turn my head, I probably get up to about 50 TVs.
There you go.
And when you get out on the patio, I know they have at least 5 out there, too.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So, like you said, if any game that's going on, I don't care what it is, whether it's football, preseason football, Indians are up on the big screen right now, down 2-0, and making their way back. High school basketball, or not high school basketball, but college basketball. I don't know if it's a rerun or something's going on over there. We've got golf. What else do we have here? Man, one year we had soccer and we had tiddlywinks on one of the screens.
We did.
Boat racing, everything is here. So, onefunpub.com if you want to check out the schedule for the Hooley House. Of course, they were voted Cleveland's #1 sports bar 3-4 years in a row. Also, private party room. And like we said, 4 locations: Brooklyn, Menor, Montrose, and here in Westlake. Well, let's get it going. Let's talk a little bit about, I always like to start and remind folks about what happened last year. You know, in the age of binge watching TV series, the new series will come out. It'll be a year, it'll be months after, you know, season 3 comes out. Now season 4 comes out. You forget what happened in season 3. So, John, remind us what happened in the 2017 season. How did we finish that here in the state of Ohio?
No, I mean, you know, if you're specifically talking about our area, it was a very great year. You had the Avon Eagles making it to a state semifinal. You had, in order for them to get to that state semifinal, they beat Olmsted Falls, the Bulldogs, you know, another Southwestern Conference team there. Let's see here, Bay Village, they made it to the regional final, ended up losing to Toledo Central Catholic, but so did every other D3 team in the state. So, I mean, that kind of happens there. And, you know, D4 Clearview made it to the playoffs. They ended I believe it was a 7-year drought, made it to the playoffs. You had a couple other teams that were really right there on the edge. So it was a very successful year, and it's going to be it's a hard watermark for this team this year to get past. But there's a lot of returning talent that is extremely well, so it should be a fun year to see what happens.
Well, you know what? The Southwestern Conference is mainly what we cover here on the west side of Cleveland, here at the Westlake Hooley House. It is, pound for pound, one of the best conferences in the state of Ohio. Always interested to see what Avon's going to do, and their arch rival, you know. These guys go at it every year. That's always the game that we always circle, Midview and Avon.
Oh, yeah, that's always one to look forward to. And Avon Lake, we've seen improve over the last couple of years, especially last year.
Glad to see them back.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the conference in general, like, you get into it week 2, you play 1 non-conference game and then 9 conference games. That's insane. Like, it wastes no time getting into the grind of the SWC. And it's a great league. If you start off slow, you can pick up those points throughout the year because you're playing good teams every single week.
Yeah, it's one of those leagues where, you know, when I look at it, every year I look at it and there's 10 teams in the league and there's a good 5, maybe 6 that have playoff aspirations, and usually 4 or 5 make it in. So you can't do much better, especially with them being in the same playoff region, to have out of the 8 spots, you got 5 of them taken from one conference. That is a heck of a conference, that's for sure. Yeah,
we'll touch on the Great Lakes Conference, too, with Rocky River, Bay. Always fun to talk that game, too. That's always one we circle when those two get together, is the Bay Rockets and Rocky River Pirates.
All right, JB, where do you want to go? Where do you want to start? You want to start with North Ridgeville? They're finishing up a little food here, but we will have the Rangers come on up when they're ready to start us off in the 2018 football season, high school football season. Like you said, JB, I can't believe that it's already here. You know, 3rd week in August. It seems like it starts earlier and earlier every year.
Yeah, it's kind of weird this year. There's actually, 2 weeks worth of games that are going to be played in August, but there's nothing wrong with that. I'm sure these kids are ready to stop doing the 2-a-days, stop the normal grind of practice, and actually get out there and show that what they've been doing in their practices they can translate to games and just get this season going.
So what's it been like for you getting out there covering? The weather's been absolutely perfect. As far as for a reporter, I would imagine.
Yeah,
but coach is probably like a little bit hotter.
It's been fantastic. I think I've avoided the rain pretty much every single time I've been out. I've seen, I want to say upwards of 25 teams at this point, just kind of going out to their practices, getting to talk with some of the kids, catch up with old coaches. That's always the fun part, just getting to know what the season looks like through their eyes, because I can do so much looking at the rosters and all the results from last year, but until you actually talk with the players and see the coaches and see what they're doing on the field for practice, that's what gives you a good idea of how this season could go for them.
One last thing before we bring in Andrew Custer, the defensive backs coach for the North Ridgeville Rangers. Give me when you go to a practice, do you stay for the entire practice? Do you just watch a portion of it? Is there, someone that you want to see? You go out. What determines what your agenda is at a practice?
Typically I'm not going to stay for the entire practice because that'd be especially in 2 days, that ends up being a very long time. But I try and get out there for, a good half hour, 45 minutes of practice to just really take in what's going on. I try and stack a few practices in one day. That way I can, like for example, I went to North Olmsted Falls the same day because they're right up the street from each other. I went to Rocky River and Fairview on the same day because they're right with each other. But, typically I just like to be there long enough to get a good idea of what all is going on and what the season's all about for them.
All right, let's bring in the North Ridgeville Rangers. Defensive backs coach Andrew Custer is with us. Coach, welcome, and give us the names of these young men that you have up here on the stage.
All right, well, thanks for having us. We have Jacob Mosney, captain, senior defensive tackle for us and center. Cale Bright, junior, he's an outside backer and running back, wide receiver for us. And then senior Jason Verba, he's a defensive back and a wide receiver as well.
Well, Coach, obviously we're just about ready for the first week here. Why don't you give us a little bit of a recap on how training camp has gone for you guys so far?
Camp went pretty well for us. We've had a lot of things that we've been working on, coming together as a team, learning to trust each other, let alone the X's and O's of football. We had a couple good scrimmages. Our last one was against Solon, a little bit of a wake-up call for us. Film doesn't lie, and we saw some things that we needed to correct and we need to improve for this week. North Royalton, our upcoming opponents, very good team. They like to throw the ball a lot, and offensively and defensively, we got to be better prepared than we were last week. So, hopefully these guys learn from that and kind of go day by day and try to get a little better.
When you talk about the scrimmages there, it's one of those things where I think the fans watching don't necessarily understand what a scrimmage is all about and what its true purpose is. Can you just tell us a little bit about what, as a coach, you are looking for in these scrimmages?
Yeah, I mean, it is a game, but it's not game-like situations. I mean, we are trying stunts and blitzes and coverages that we may not do if it was a real game and it mattered, but we need to put them on film to see what we need to work on and where we need to improve or what the kids understand and what they're able to do. And, same thing with playing time. We try to get as many kids as we can out in the film, out in the field so we can see them on film to see who can play and who can't play and who's going to be a backup. And, if we have to move somebody because of scheme or, player isn't working, we need to make an adjustment, and it's kind of nice to see that on film when it is a game-like situation and, make the adjustments sooner than later.
Are you tired of the scrimmages and the practices and just ready for an actual game that counts to come
We're
this
ready
Friday?
to go.
You're ready to go?
We are ready to go.
Chomping
at the bit. Yeah, I mean, way too many two-a-days.
Right.
I mean, they're fun, but, they start getting old, and it's nice to start knocking heads with another opponent and, instead of yourself and, playing a full game. Like you said, the importance of a scrimmage, previously, team would get 10 plays. Well, okay, we play well for 8 of them, and then all of a sudden we give up a long pass or, miss a few tackles. And it's like, well, they would have punted a couple times already, and then you kind of hang your heads, and momentum swings the other way.
Well, you guys have 19 lettermen returning this year, 17 starters. How nice is that to have, and what sort of advantage does that give you guys going into this year, all that leadership?
Obviously it's great to have guys that are returning. I mean, the 3 sitting here, Jacob Mosney, he played for us, started for us last year on both sides of the ball. Like I said, he's a senior. Cale Bright, he started last year, both sides of the he started defensively for us, as a sophomore. That's huge. And Jason Verba's a sophomore, started for us. He had some injuries last year as a junior, only played a couple games, but having that experience back and being able to talk to kids that understand football, that understand the game, it's a lot easier to make adjustments.
What's the biggest difference so far early on this year that you've noticed as opposed to last year, having so many seniors back, or veterans back, I should say?
I didn't hear the first.
What's the biggest difference you've noticed this year as opposed to last year so far with all the veterans that you have back this year?
Well, last year, I mean, we the seniors that we had were pretty good players. No doubt that we're going to miss Shamari Williams and Jameer Malone. I mean, they were two very good football players, and there are other handful of seniors that we're going to miss as well. We still have guys that need to step up a little bit more so than they are. We have a few guys that have stepped up. I mean, we had a few players the other day. Jason was here and organized it, and they did a film session on their own over at somebody's house and got a handful of guys to go over there and do that. And we told these kids, if you want to have different results, you got to do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
Let's bring the guys in here. Just tell me a little bit about how 2 days went, how practice has been going, and a general season outlook for you guys this year.
How 2 days went? I think 2 days actually went pretty good. Could have been a lot better. Team looks pretty good so far. We get to see how it looks on a real Friday night, though. Any questions?
When you're thinking about just getting into the season, getting this first game under your belt, just how ready are you for the season to finally start?
I'm ready for the first game. Can't be any more happier. They got me on both sides of the ball this year. Get to play a little bit of running back this year and linebacker, so it's exciting.
You like playing both sides?
Yes, sir.
Any preference as to one you enjoy more? Do you like tackling somebody more or running over somebody?
I like linebacker way better.
Linebacker way better.
Both sides of the ball is fun.
Now, you guys closed out last year winning 3 of your last 4 games. Does that matter going into this year? Did you feel like you built momentum at the end of last year into this year?
I mean, it does have an effect on us from this year because we did lose some top athletes, but that's okay because other schools lost their top athletes too.
It all balances out then.
Yeah.
Jacob, let's bring you in here real quick. You play both on the offensive line and the defensive line. Do you prefer one or the other? Or do you enjoy playing both sides of the ball?
I prefer offense over defense, but that's mainly just because the dudes on offense when I'm on defense are huge and they're kind of scary.
That's a good answer. I can appreciate that. How's everything feeling going into this year? Do you guys feel like a confident group, or what's kind of the chemistry and the vibe of the team?
I think this year we're going to do really well. We have a lot of returning guys, which is really, really good because they know what they're doing. We don't have to teach. We don't have to start from scratch.
Yeah. Do you feel like you had any momentum going into this year after the way you guys closed out last year?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but no.
No? Okay.
I don't think we did, really. We're just using last year as losing our 7 games as motivation to step it up this year.
Okay, let's bring Jason in here for a little bit. Just tell me a little bit about what you've been trying to teach some of the younger kids about what it means to be a Ranger, what it means to play Ranger football.
The last couple of years, playing Ranger football hasn't really, it's sort of been okay to lose. We haven't been good lately, and it's about changing that. We want to change the culture around Ridgeville.
And, you talk about changing culture. How does it feel to know that you want to be part of that group that is making that change happen?
I mean, it's awesome because I think we can be the group to change that. We stay healthy. I think guaranteed playoff team. Barring injuries, I think we could easily get there.
Let's talk a little bit about week 1 here. You got North Royalton. What's kind of the general scouting report? What have the coaches been trying to get you ready for?
I mean, we've played their quarterback the last 3 years. We know he's good. We know they pass a lot, and they beat us the last 2 years. So this is a revenge game for sure.
What are some of the goals, and this is for each of you, what are some of the goals that you guys have this year or expectations?
Individually or for the team?
Either one.
Team-wise, I think it's win a playoff game for sure. Never been done. For myself, I don't know. I want to lead the team in tackles for sure at the safety position.
Well, for my team goals this year, I mean, like last year I transferred, so I had to sit out first 5 games. And I couldn't really help the team that much, but when I came back, I felt like I did a big difference. But this year I want to help my seniors go all the way, make it to like playoffs this year because we haven't been there in a while. And my own self goals, I want to like lead the conference in tackling and a little bit of rushing.
Okay.
My goals for the team are just to win. Win more than 3 games. I would really like that, but then, of course, playoffs. I don't really have personal goals. I'm just here to help the team out as best I can.
Good answers. I approve. We're joined on stage by the North Ridgeville Rangers. We've got the defensive backs coach Andrew Custer with us, Jacob Mosney, Jason Verba, and Cale Bright. Coach, last question I've got for you, and it's a fill-in-the-blank question, but people should be excited about North Ridgeville football this year
because these 3 guys here are probably amongst the top leaders that we kind of have on the team. I mean, kids listen and respect these 3 players that are here. And the thing to get excited about or that's going to happen is they are going to change things. I mean, they're slowly buying in and doing things the right way. And, like Jason was talking earlier about the culture and changing it. And, these kids want to do that. I mean, as coaches, we're trying to steer them in the right direction and, just keep prodding them along. And, yeah, they're going to get it. I mean, we hopefully get this win this week. And they can kind of keep things rolling. But I mean, I think that's the big thing that you're going to see as a change is, hopefully our program does a 180, and as coaches we're hoping to be a minimum of 7-3, 8-2, and that ought to get us in the playoffs. And I think with our conference, fortunately we play with our region we play another team in our conference. So another team that we have a bunch of film on, and hopefully we've already beat them once, and we can get them again and get another playoff win. I mean, Ridgeville has not been to the playoffs often, and has not won a postseason game, and that's something that we're hoping we can do.
Well, that's perfect. I want to give these guys a little bit of a quote-unquote hot seat. Nothing overly hard. We're just going to get to know a little more about you guys here. First question. We'll make this one nice and easy. Baker Mayfield, was that the right pick for the Browns?
Yes, I think it was the right choice. He is an amazing athlete. And so I don't know. Yeah, that guy. What? He's a Heisman Trophy winner.
There we go.
I don't know.
All right. Cavs, are they going to make the playoffs without
No.
LeBron James?
Never.
How
Never
close
again.
are they going to come?
How close?
Yeah.
They're not going to have a positive record this year.
Okay. And last but not least, that means you get the fun one.
All right.
Celebrity crush.
Taylor Swift for sure. I've always been a big fan of Taylor Swift, bro. Best female artist ever.
There we go.
On that, I'll take the microphone back. Did you go to the concert?
I went to a concert of hers like a long time ago, but I haven't been to one since.
So you've been on her a long time.
Oh yeah. Ever since I was a kid, dude. She's my idol, for sure.
Ever since he was a kid.
There we go.
This is why I love this show. This is why I wake up around 6 o'clock and get out here after working early in the morning. The Rangers are here in the house in 2018. They start off and kick off the 2018 version of Varsity Chalk Talk. Couldn't have a better team to get out here and kick it off. We're hoping for big things from the Rangers. They were 3-7 last year, but I got a feeling they ain't going to be 3-7 this year. Watch out, Southwestern Conference. Thank you, fellas, for coming on out. We appreciate you. We'll look for you again hopefully next week. Each and every week, you're always welcome back here on Varsity Chalk Talk. Come and tell us all about the game next week. Boy, I'm used to us getting out here a couple of weeks prior to week 1. But this year we're it's a little early. I was going to say we're a little late, but we're not late. We're doing our normal thing. But it's nice to get out here at this time and have a game to talk about next week. Usually a couple years ago we got out here 2 weeks before the season started. And we were talking the previous year and previewing the upcoming season. But this is going to be good.
Yeah, it's a weird balance because if you start too early, coaches don't necessarily know who's going to be playing what positions. They don't know what their schemes are going to be, anything like that. When you get this week, when you can talk about that game and get a bit of the recap from last year, it all works out pretty well. I like how this is working out right now.
You asked Coach Custer whether or not he was happy about having 19, I think Andy asked him, 19 returning Letterman back, and the answer is absolutely. The less guys you have to teach, the culture to, the plays to, and you can prepare, better for your team and know what kind of holes you need to fill in if there are any. And I got a feeling Coach Durbin is very, very happy about this team.
Yes, agreed. When you have that many senior leaders, not necessarily senior leaders, but just leaders in general, it has to be so much easier on a coach to not have to, micromanage everything because he can rely on those experienced players to, kind of self-police the team a little bit and make sure everyone stays on track.
All right, let's keep it rolling here. We have the Avon Eagles in the house, and before their food comes, we might as well catch up with them real quick because Coach Elder is here, and he usually blesses us with his presence early in the season, and then after that, man, he is in football mode, and he's going to send some other folks out here. Coach, welcome back.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Welcome to the 2018 season. Give us a little preview, tell us how camp's been going.
Well, first off, thanks for having me out, and thanks for doing this, guys. You're right. I got a lot of things going on, but what we do, we love that you do this because every week I give one of my assistants the opportunity to bring players that he coaches, and it's a big deal for them. So they appreciate you guys for doing this, and I do as well. But I try to get here at the beginning and at the end of the season if all goes well. So, but camp's gone well. We've grinded it out just like every other high school. I remind our kids that when you sign up for football, that makes you special because you're doing something really hard. But what I also remind them is every other program's doing the same thing you are. It's what are you doing that makes you different? How much effort are you putting in? Are you willing to get through those hard days and do a little more than your opponents are? And I feel like our kids have done that, and we had some ups and downs through training camp, but all in all, I think we're where we need to be.
Are you ready for a game and just done with the practices and the scrimmages? Are you ready for an actual game now?
Without question. Our kids were ready for a game 3 weeks ago, and we get to open up on Thursday night, which is pretty exciting for us. Why not? Let's get after it early and then get an extra day of prep for Olmsted Falls. But, yeah, our kids are super excited about Friday night being here, and every scrimmage I felt like they had that same passion. So they play it the right way. Who will be, how good we'll be, I don't know yet. But I do know that we put in the work that's required to have a chance to be good.
Coach, this will be your 13th season at Avon. Is that correct? Does that sound right? 13.
I think that sounds right.
Is that,
you just made me feel old.
Yeah,
So
I was
thank you.
I was going to ask, is it just hard to believe that? Do you ever think oh my gosh, it's been that long that I've been there?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like just yesterday. I joke around with some of my assistants that have been with me through this whole journey and where we were at and where we've come. And it's just incredible some of the things that I've been blessed to do with regards to players that I've had the ability to coach that had an effect on my life, and the assistant coaches who have become my best friends, and people in the community who have rallied around me in good times and in bad. So I'm a really fortunate person to coach in Avon with the group of men I coach with and the kind of kids we get to coach.
Well, going back to last year, you guys had a great season. You go 13-1, state semifinal run. Tough loss there. How long did that sit with you this offseason, or did you quickly turn the page onto this year?
It sat with me, and it still does. It's funny. We've had a lot of success in my tenure at Avon, and I remember the losses much more than I remember the wins. And I think that all competitors, great competitors, that's kind of what motivates them. They sometimes hate losing more than they enjoy winning. I don't recommend that for people, but that's kind of who I am. But we spent a lot of our offseason looking at Akron-Hoban, and if we were ever fortunate to get back to that point, what would we need to do to have a different outcome? And the truth is they have great players. I mean, they have great players in every position. But you only got to be better than them once. So we spent a lot of time in the offseason thinking about things we could do if we had that opportunity again. What would we do to give our kids a chance in that game? And then we show up at the Massillon scrimmage, and they just punch us right in the mouth and beat us up pretty good. And I realized right then and there we better stop talking about Akron-Hoban because we're not even going to win the SWC or even beat Akron-Buchtel if we don't get better quick. So that's what erased that whole Hoban thing, was having your first scrimmage and realizing this is a new team. We're not the team that made it to the state Final Four. we're a whole new work in progress, and we just hope to win week 1.
How do you get the players to not necessarily forget that game, but not dwell on it like you were saying? You want to get past it, but you want to learn from it. How do you get the players to understand that concept?
I think our players have already moved forward. Kids are resilient, much more so than adults, I think, sometimes. And I remember being in high school, and I was a center in high school, and our best player was our quarterback, got injured, and never fazed me one iota. I thought as long as I was playing and I'm the center, we don't need him. I'll will us the victory. I mean, that's how kids think, and that's a good quality to have, actually. So our kids have moved past that, and they've taken the criticism we've given them every step along the way and build off of that. And I feel like we'll give it a shot on Thursday night to hopefully get our first victory.
When you're going through camp, obviously Avon gets a lot of kids that come out and play. What's the kind of thing that sets certain players above the rest to be able to make the varsity squad, to be able to become a starter?
Well, in our program, obviously we have a great tradition, and a lot of kids want to be part of that. And I actually tweeted something out the other day of how proud I was of the 92 young men, 10 through 12, who are actually going to touch the rock, which is a tradition, run through the tunnel, and get the opportunity to go on that field. Because the truth is, about 130 kids signed up to do so, and we're down to 92. And we don't cut anybody. They cut themselves. And the truth is, we do things at 6 a.m. in the morning all throughout the summer. When kids are sleeping and getting out of bed at 11, 12 o'clock, we got kids getting up at 5:30, coming and grinding it out, working hard. So I think that football in Avon is about as close to a military experience as you can get without being in the military. And I say that as a positive thing because I think society needs that. I think that's why we need this game. We make it hard intentionally, and we weed people out. And you don't just weed out some bad players now. You weed out some kids that are really talented, but they just don't have the work ethic to wear the uniform. And we've just set ourselves, with the mindset at Avon that we're going to coach the kids who want to do what's required of them. And they're the kids who will fight tooth and nail for their teammates and never, ever, regardless of circumstance, give up or stop playing. And that's the kind of kids we have.
Coach, I read an article the other day where you were discussing the issue of complacency and how that can be something terrifying to a coach. But is that a tough message to get across to the kids to, we have this tradition, but none of that matters if we don't show up this week? Is that hard to get across?
Yeah, complacency is something that I call it the noise, and sorry to say this, but sometimes you guys create the noise. And,
we do. We're good at that.
Sometimes parents create the noise, and then classmates create the noise, and the noise is basically telling kids how good they are, or you just show up and they think you're going to win, and it doesn't work that way, not with the competition we play. I mean, in our league, week in and week out, you better come ready to play or you're going to get beat. The guys you just talked to from North Ridgeville gave us the best game we had last year, and the season didn't go the way they wanted. But they had us beat going into the fourth quarter, and we were fortunate enough to put together a series and steal a victory from them at the end. But that's just the nature of our league. Everybody's good. Everybody practices. Everybody plays hard. And at the end of the day, getting your kids to understand if you show up and you don't play well, you're not going to win when they have their parents and neighbors and friends telling them, oh, you'll kill that team. Yeah, we got to fight against that all the time.
Talking a little bit, you mentioned the conference this year, North Ridgeville. We expect them to be better this year. What's your take on it this year? Who are some teams maybe that you think will maybe climb up in the standings this year? What's your overall take on the SWC?
I think Berea Mid-Park's going to have as good of an offense as anybody, and they've given up some points over the years too, but they're hard to stop now, and so you better be able to score with them or you're going to have a problem on your hands. And so I think they're talented as anyone on offense. I think our rivals, Lake, are going to be really good. I think they may have, top to bottom, the best talent in the league, to be quite frank. So I wouldn't sleep on those guys. I mean, they've had back-to-back good classes that I've watched win in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade. It's their turn now. I mean, and we're just hoping to be better than them on that day. North Ridgeville has a lot of starters back, without question. And then Olmsted Falls is a regional finalist team from a year ago, and they're big, strong, and physical and do what they do well. So I don't know that there's one team. Amherst has a good running back coming back. Westlake, Jason Hall's a great friend of mine. I know he's going to be much better. So the list goes on and on. To be honest with you, I have ultimate respect for every team in that league. And every week it's a coin toss in terms of, who's going to win a game.
Well, let's move forward a little bit here. Thursday, you guys got your first game coming up. What's kind of the scouting report that you've seen on tape that you've been getting your players ready for?
Well, first off, I had to explain to them who Akron Buchtel is. I have one of my teammates, and asked me if they're going to be a lot like, Cleveland East Tech, who we played a few years ago, and we're beaten like 50-0 at halftime, and that's no disrespect to East Tech. But Akron Buchtel is not that program. Akron Buchtel has kids playing in the NFL. They had kids go on to play Division I college football every year. I compared them so our kids could understand it to like Lorraine. Lorraine's got it going. Coach McFarland does a great job, and they have tremendous athletes. And so Akron Buchtel on defense is going to be pretty simple. They're going to line up in man-to-man coverage, and they're going to bring 6 guys and bring the pressure and just try to be more athletic than you. And the truth is they are more athletic than us in many positions. So schematically, we're going to have to execute and do some things well to move the ball. On the flip side, our goal on offense is to make them drive the length of the field. They rely on the splash plays, the big plays over your head, or the run where a guy's going to run through somebody or beat you to the outside with their speed. And if we can eliminate big plays, we'll have an opportunity. And then special teams has to be an advantage for us in this game. But we got our hands full. Trust me, Akron Buchtel's talented. And if you look at the teams they play, they run from nobody. They'll play St. Ed's, they'll play Steubenville, they'll play Massillon, they'll play Avon. I told our kids they could care less that you're Avon. They actually don't even know who you are and don't really care. They're going to show up and play football.
When you look at how last year you guys started your season on a Thursday, but in Florida, you're starting on a Thursday again this year at home. How great is it to have the first game of the season at home with all of the Eagles fans in the crowd just going crazy for you guys?
Yeah, that's exciting. We struggled for a while to find a week 1 game because that game in Florida, left us in a gap in our schedule where we needed a home game and we needed a week 1 because next year we play our rivals Lake week 1 forever and always, and our open date's week 2. And we've already agreed to a contract with Lorraine home and away. So it was a 1-year deal we were looking for. We couldn't find anybody. We were going to go to Pennsylvania and play Woodland Hills. They were holding the jamboree with Eastern PA versus the rest, and we were going to be the rest that were going to come in and play the host team. And Woodland Hills is really good. And then Menor had agreed in principle to a game with us. Menor, we know how good they are, but we couldn't find anybody else, so we were going to play them. And then St. Ed's kind of made them an offer they couldn't refuse financially. So we were still looking, and thankfully we found Akron Buchtel just so we could have a home game. But they're athletic, so we're not going to get any pushovers. Most people, don't want to play us that maybe we would like to play week 1.
Joined on stage right now by Avon Eagles head coach Mike Elder. Coach, last question I've got for you, and I asked it to Ridgeville. It's a fill in the blank, but people should be excited about Avon football as they are every year, I imagine. But why should they be excited about this year's squad?
Well, first off, I don't know that everybody gets as excited as they should because what we've done is pretty incredible. And when I say we collectively, our coaching staff, our community, our players, and I think sometimes some people take that success for granted, and that bothers me because I know the hard work that goes into the success we've had. But they should be excited that there's 92 kids who have really worked exceptionally hard to represent their community every Friday night. Our success isn't accidental. I mean, the things that we ask kids to do are just different. And it gives you hope for the future in this country that there's some kids that are willing to grind it out. And so they should be excited. There's going to be a group of kids that are going to go out there. They're going to care about each other, and they're going to play with relentless effort for 4 quarters because that's what they've been programmed and conditioned to do.
Coach, my question for you is, you've been in this game a long time in football. Do you still love it? And if so, why?
Yeah, I love it. And I'm going to tell you, if I didn't love it, this is not a joke. The day I wake up and I'm not excited to go to that first practice, and I'm talking about the first practice June 1st, or that first 2 a day, where it feels like a job and drudgery, I'm out because kids deserve better than that. And the truth is there's some adults who do it for the money or because what it gives them. I do it because I love it and I'm passionate about it. And my best friends are guys I get to coach with, and the kids that I build relationships and connections with that I keep in touch with down the road years is why I do this. And I can't see myself ever not doing it, but I'll know when the time is right, and that will be when I don't feel as excited as I am right now about playing Thursday night. But not even the game Thursday. I love the practice. I love going to practice. And today was a bad practice for us, so I was disappointed because I just enjoy it so much.
What do you get out of we often talk about the young men and the young ladies who play high school sports and what they gain from that, not only this year, in the present, but in the future. What do you get out of this?
What I get out of it is, it's called servant leadership, right? I mean, someone can do something for you and that feels good for a minute. But when you do something for someone else, that makes you feel good for a really long time. And my success isn't 13-1. And we coach kids, not football. That's our motto. Our coaching staff knows that. And if you look at it from that lens that you coach kids, not football, and you have 92 kids on your team, I'm here to tell you they're not all as talented as each other, but every kid's just as important to you because you value the relationships that you can foster through this game. That's pretty special. And so what do I get out of it? You know, Darren Davis at John Carroll, just touched base with him today and talked to him. I got to go down to Mount Union and speak to their team yesterday, and 2 of my players are sitting in the crowd, and we talk afterwards. Or even the quarterback from Lorraine a year ago is down to Mount Union. He took time to talk to me. It's the relationships with my coaches and players and how 5-10 years down the road removed, you see these kids out, and it's like you just were there yesterday. So I love the relationship aspect of this, and that's why I do it.
Well, you and I are one and the same. You know, I coach over at VASJ Baseball, and when you see those kids succeed, when you see them becoming young men and young women and productive citizens out here in the world, it gives you no greater pride. You know, the pride that you take, you say, you know what, I had a hand possibly had a hand in hopefully helping this young man or young lady get to where they want to be in life. So, Coach, we appreciate you. We really do. And, you know, if no one ever said it, we appreciate you here at Varsity Chalk Talk.
Well, I appreciate you guys. What you're doing for high school kids is phenomenal. Giving them the opportunity to grab the mic. I'm here today with my daughter, Bailey. Just had a volleyball game, and they won her first game, so I'm pretty excited about that. And my son, Brock, who's a freshman on the freshman football team. I actually tried to get him on stage, but they weren't having it, so maybe next time I come back.
Yeah, sooner. Brock,
I thought they would be a good perspective for you guys to have.
Brock, your time's coming. So get ready. You can eat now, but later on, your time's coming. What's that like to coach your son? I mean, to have your son in the program.
It's awesome. You know, I got a son who's in 5th grade, and I just left his practice, so I coach his 5th grade rookie tackle team because we've transformed youth football in Avon, and so I'm coaching his 5th grade rookie tackle. He's on the freshman team. You know, my daughter's playing volleyball, keeps you busy, and it's a lot of fun having your kid in the program. And more because I just know the men that he's going to be surrounded with on the freshman staff and who he's going to inherit when he gets to the high school. And I can't wait for those guys to get their hands on him because it truly takes a village to raise a child. And he's going to be around some really good men that are going to help make him a better person.
I always like to have you here because, you know, you're a student of the game. You love this game. You love football. What's your take on the state of football right now, 2018?
You know what? I'm optimistic, and here's why. Because, you know, I just went down to the USA Football Convention. I was a speaker down at the National Convention, and I've worked really hard to look at our youth programs in Avon and figure out how can we foster the greatest participation possible. And so we're K1-2 flag football. We're 3rd and 4th grade now. We used to be tackle, no more tackle in 3rd and 4th. We're padded flag. Some people criticize me for that, but I believe it's right. And 5th grade's your first tackle experience, and it'll be 7-on-7, although some 5th graders could choose 11-on-11 if they want to. And then our 6th graders are 11-on-11. And so our numbers are up. We have better numbers in Avon than we've ever had. And I believe there's a lot of rule changes and things that are going on in the game that make it safer. I think with regards to concussions and the awareness and the things that they're doing to make sure there's protocols in place to keep kids safe. It's never been a safer time to play football. And that's not saying there's not a risk involved. It's you have to choose what's an acceptable risk for your child. And I always put it this way. I have a trampoline in our yard, and there's no benefit from jumping up and down on a trampoline. But if you talk to an ER doctor, there's a lot of brutal injuries. But I let my kids go on a trampoline. So football, there's some guaranteed benefits if you're intentional about what you're trying to use the game to teach. And we do that in Avon. So my kids are signed up for it, and I like the rule changes and where it's going and the equipment and the safety. And I just think it's going to take a lot of people to really reflect and change the way they look at things moving forward to protect it, to keep participation numbers, you know, from going down most of the places around the country.
Real quickly, what are some of those rule changes off the top of your head?
Last year, one of the big changes was, and a lot of our players criticized it, was the crackback block, you know. So if you're a defenseless player and you're turning and somebody sees you, they used to be able to lower your shoulder and hit you. And now that's not acceptable anymore. It has to be an open hand block. It's a good block. You can still block him. You can still even knock a guy down, but you just don't get that type of hit. Obviously, if the officials see that a kid they think is not himself, they have the right to pull him out of a game, put him on the sidelines. The concussion protocol that all these athletic trainers and doctors have to get a kid to participate and come back has changed. Obviously you can't lead with the head. There's a strike zone where you can hit people. That's changed a few years ago. So again, it's the 2-a-day rules, not having contact, back-to-back days, and actually during the season having those rules where you can't have full go contact. And the truth is we didn't have it anyway. We never practiced that way. But it had to happen because there's some irresponsible coaches out there who just don't know any better. They're not trying to hurt kids. They don't know any better. And so I think USA Football also has done a great job of really bringing to light new tackling forms, the eagle roll tackle, taking your head out of tackle. I was always coached, put your head in front. Now it's put your head in back. Makes sense, right, when you're trying to protect kids. So the list goes on and on. I'm sure you don't want them all, but I do believe it's never been a safer time to play the game than there is right now.
Last question, I promise. We'll let you go. I just love having you up here because, we get you once or twice, and it's always a good thing. When you look back at when you first started at Avon, to see where you are now as far as the lower programs, the third grade, the fifth grade, did you ever, I know you had a vision, but now it seems to have come to fruition.
Yeah, I always had a vision, and it's interesting. When I became the assistant principal head football coach 11 years ago, some people told me, well, that's an impossible job. You can't do both because you're the bad guy in the school, and then you're suspending your own players, and this stuff's happening. And I was out to prove people wrong, and I made it work because there was great people around me. The administrative team I was with, my assistant coaches, they made it work. And then I became the HR director for the school district, so now I'm not in the high school. People are like, oh, that's a bad idea. You're not going to be able to handle. Well, now I'm down in the elementary schools all the time, and it's my goal to be in every classroom, every elementary classroom, first grade through fifth grade at least once a week. Stop in, say hi to kids, and hey, Coach Elder, you want to talk about feeling good about yourself when those kids in those elementary level? I mean, come on now. That's awesome stuff. I'll go out, play knockout on the playground in my suit. I'm good with that, but I want to get those kids excited. And we don't have pep rallies at Avon. We don't. But what I do accomplish is anytime we're in the playoffs, I bring my players and cheerleaders down to the elementaries, and we visit all the classrooms. We bring the pep rally to the kids that it really matters. Not trying to be disrespectful, but if the sophomores and juniors in the school aren't excited about the playoff game, okay, I just need the kids that are going to play for me someday to be excited about it. And so we go to those kids and we target them, and our numbers have never been better, and I believe there's a lot of excitement surrounding our program.
Well, folks, this is why we love them here on Varsity Chalk Talk. Coach Mike Elder from the Avon Eagles. Always a pleasure, Coach, having you on the show. You're welcome here every week. I know you're a busy man, and we look forward to seeing some of your assistant coaches and your players here. And just good luck. Good luck, and have a great season.
I appreciate it. And again, I know our players are super excited about getting up here. I'm sorry I didn't bring any with me today.
You sure it's not the wings they're excited about?
They like the wings. They like the food.
Us.
The Hooli House got good food now. I'm excited too. But they really do appreciate you guys. So thanks for doing this.
Coach Mike Elder from the Avon Eagles. They were 13-1 last year, and they are primed and ready to try to make that state run once again. And, boy, I tell you what, I could sit up here all day and talk to Coach Elder because he just gets you fired up about the sport of football.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those coaches that if you don't get inspired after talking with him, that's on you. It's not on him by any means. That's all on you.
He's put a lot of work into the program at Avon, and he's enjoyed as he said, he's enjoyed every minute of it. And just having the kids come back to say, hey, thanks, Coach, or, to see where they are, it's just an awesome, awesome, awesome feeling. And I know that's why I do it. It definitely isn't for the money. So, but to see those kids come back and say, hey, Coach, you really made a difference in my life, that's always a wonderful thing. Well, we had North Ridgeville, we had Avon, and I don't know about you boys, but I'm ready to run through that brick wall and play a little football. What do you think?
There we go. Sounds like fun. Let's do it.
Andy Jardy?
Oh, I play football.
Oh, I know it, baby. I know you're ready. I'm excited for you, for the news that you gave us today that you're going to be hosting the show instead of running around.
Yes.
You started from the bottom.
Started from the bottom, and now we're here. Isn't
now
that what
you're here, bro? I love it, man.
Yeah, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
How can we tune in? Can I get it on online? I'll be watching on Friday nights.
Yeah, I think the way that I don't know if the whole show gets posted online, but I know because the show is made up of 5 segments where the first segment is like going over the scores of the night. We send it out to whatever game we broadcast that night. They do like a package in the truck, so they'll do something. And then we come back to like the play of the week, and then we go to break, and then there's 4 reporters that we have that'll come on and do a segment. So I know each segment gets posted online. I don't know if the full show gets online. I got to
Give us the call letters one more time.
WMFD. It's down in Mansfield.
WMFD. And then JB, I know you're excited to get out. What are you doing this week? Are you sending your folks out here to cover? Are you going to cover a game this week?
Now, this week I'll be back in the office. We actually we have a new hire that I am still in the process of training, and she'll be getting her first experience of layout on a Friday night. So I decided it was probably best suited for me to be in the office to make sure that she doesn't go too crazy, because doing the office stuff on a Friday night is a bit hectic. So but we'll still have, I believe, 7 people that we'll have out in the field covering games. So we'll have widespread coverage, plenty of photos, and they can all be found on our website, morningjournal.com, that night. And, this is the website really forever.
If you want to check out his work, he's at the Lorain Morning Journal. It's John Boehm. His Twitter is MJ_JBEHM. And for Andy, it's Andy Jardy, ANDYJARDY on Twitter. Mine is D Ramboni. And if you want to reach out to Varsity Chalk Talk, it's at Real Chalk Talk. Comments, questions, suggestions, come on out to the Hooley House on Monday night. We've switched. We used to be on Tuesday night here in Westlake, but we are head-to-head with the big boys in Menor. With Billy Tilton and the gang over in Menor. We're going to try to give them a run for their money this year. We're going to talk West Side football. They talk East Side football, but this Southwestern Conference and surrounding areas, they don't shy away from anybody. And I tell you what, it's good football here on the West Side. So, folks, make sure you join us each and every week. You can hear us on the podcast, on SoundCloud each and every week, starting from Tuesday to Monday, and then we'll have a new one up every Tuesday. So we appreciate you joining us here tonight on Varsity Chalk Talk. To the folks here at the Hooley House in Westlake, 24940 Sperry Drive here in Westlake, Ohio. The website is onefunpub.com. Like we said, on Twitter, you can reach out to them at Hooley Pub if you have a comment, question, or you want to get the schedule of what's going on here at the Hooley House. Always a great time. John Boehm, final words?
I'm just ready for this season to get started.
Let's get it on, baby.
Same
AJ?
thing. Can't believe it's here, but I'm ready for it, and it'll be over before you know it, too. That's the thing. It'll fly by, but just enjoy it. I'm excited.
Hey, man, we picked up right where we left off last November. Outstanding show. We appreciate you guys. Andy Jardy, for John Boehm. My name is David Ramnerine. We'll catch you back here next Tuesday night on the podcast for a recap of Week 1 of the 2018 season. We'll see you then, folks.